So today on Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we're going to talk about Gino Vannelli's Wild Horses. We're going to discuss his determination in getting a record deal, his connection with a shaman named Jamie, and also his connection with the Getty dynasty.
But before we get to that, cut to the theme music.
Take it away, Ian McGlynn.
In this episode, we are pushing Frank Pearson to the limit because today's song is a mysterious song. It's a song that seemingly has disappeared from all streaming services. It is difficult to find any information on.
Yeah, there's no Wikipedia page specifically for this song. There's no song facts page for it. I have not been able to go to either of my main resources to look up information for this song.
And I realized this as I was doing my deep dive, and I thought, wow, they even scrubbed the album from Wikipedia. So today's episode is on Gino Vannelli's Wild Horses. So turn up the heat, pour yourself a glass of red wine.
Sit back and enjoy.
As we mentioned, this is a challenge.
Oh my goodness. Like, I have so many tabs open on my computer right now, and each of them has just a little bit of a nugget of information for the song or for Gino Vannelli. And researching this was a little bit of a chore for me. I'm glad I had a little bit of time off over the holidays so I could dedicate some time to it.
So why don't you give us a little history of Gino Vannelli anyways, that you could find anyways as far as the artist goes.
Gino Vannelli was born to his parents, has brothers and sisters, and is a musician.
You sure he's got any sisters?
Oh, wait. It's only brothers, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll have to take over. So he's coming out of Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah.
And so we also featured another musician out of Montreal named Andy Kim, who also had a similar backstory in that they went to the big city in the States. For Andy Kim, it was New York. For Gino Vannelli, I believe it was L.A.
It was Hollywood, actually. So this is one of the things that I actually found. I think it was a YouTube interview that he did. They booked tickets to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they get there, and they realize they're in Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood, California. He went with his brother, Joe. And this is according to Gino Vannelli in a YouTube interview. This is something that I find interesting, too, because some musicians have varying like origin stories or genesis stories that change from interview to interview. So you kind of wonder which is true and which is a bit of an embellishment. Anyways, according to Gino, he and Joe had tickets booked to go to Hollywood, but end up in Hollywood, Florida, and then have to book a separate trip from Florida to California. So they end up in Hollywood proper.
And while they're in Hollywood, he's being supported by his family. His parents are good to him. Like, in terms of the story, his mother was sending money.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is his mother sent money to Hollywood, Florida, instead of Hollywood, California.
Was that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know if they went to, I didn't hear the story about them landing in Hollywood, Florida, but his mom had sent money to Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And they were stuck. They had no money. They've been trying to make things work. And he was kind of at the end of things as far as, making his dream happen.
Yeah, it was down to like his last $5.
Yeah. So he went into a church, he said, and sat in this church sometime in the early morning hours. It was open, sat in there, and I think he fell asleep. He said the quietness of the place, not so much some sort of mystical thing. He was really quick to say that, even though we'll talk about his spirituality later, I'm sure. But he said the quiet sort of space helped him to know what he needed to do. And then he went over to where Herb Alpert's studio was. And he sat there while the guard, who was slightly injured, so couldn't run so fast, but the guard's like, you stay there. And Gino Vannelli said, I'm allowed to stay here. It's on public property. And he said, don't you dare try to run over and talk to anybody. And Gino Vannelli's like, yep. And then he sees Herb Alpert come out, and then he darts across the parking lot to get to him.
And Herb Alpert, is one of the co-owners of A&M Records.
Exactly. And so the guard is saying, damn you, he's trying to get him. Pulls out his gun, apparently.
Oh, jeez.
Because Herb Alpert's wife has been stalked or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So Herb Alpert's wondering what's going on. So in this moment, Herb Alpert's thinking this could be the stalker. Gino Vannelli's taking his life in his hands. And then he just says to Herb Alpert, I have all these songs. I want to try these things. And Herb Alpert says to the guard, like, hey, Joe, relax. It's okay. And the guard is so angry. And he says to Gino, come back in half an hour. And so Gino Vannelli comes back half an hour, plays the songs for him. Mm-hmm. And then Herb Alpert said, welcome to A&M Records.
Yeah. And it's similar to the Andy Kim story where he had a similar instance. So it was in New York, but same thing. Record exec just waited, and finally kind of ambushed the exec. And I will apologize that my confusion with the Hollywood, Florida versus Hollywood, California story. In my typical research fashion, I was, 100% into it. I had the YouTube video playing while I was scrolling through Tinder. So it's
wait a sec. Did you make up the Hollywood, Florida story?
No, I thought that I heard that. I think it might be true. I'm not sure.
Okay, but Gino's going to be so angry when he listens to this,
right?
So there's something about Montreal singers who have the sort of moxie to just go for it.
Yeah, they got a lot of guts, and especially to run through a parking lot with the security guard chasing you. Like, that's like going all in on your dream.
Yeah. And the gun's pointed.
Yeah.
Hopefully Joe was a bad shot.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he didn't kill Herb Alpert. These are tough times.
I know. I like to think that the guard was probably distracted by Gino Vannelli's amazing hair.
Oh, yeah. He's a very good-looking man.
Yeah.
And in 1970s, Gino Vannelli hair is something else.
Yeah.
Now, Gino Vannelli is very successful in the 70s.
Yes.
He had his big album, I think was his, I don't know if it was his third album or fifth album, Brother to Brother.
Yeah.
And the song was I Just Want to Stop, written by Ross Vannelli, I believe, is one of his brothers. I thought it was written by Gino, but it's actually written by his brother. But Gino is a
Which
songwriter.
makes sense, Brother to Brother.
But, well, yeah, there we go. And that's a huge yacht rock song.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, he just did huge business in the 70s. We head into the 80s, and now it's a different time. Gino cuts his hair.
The 70s are different from the 80s.
They are, but there's a sound. New wave has come in.
Yeah.
And Gino purposely ends up making an 80s record before this one. So he gets into a fight with CBS Records or Arista, one of these record companies he's with, and they won't let him release his music. So there's this lengthy period where he doesn't release anything. So you have Nightwalker has come out in 81, and then it takes until 1984 for Black Cars to come out. And Black Cars is an 80s synth album.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing. And then the follow-up to that 3 years later is Big Dreamers Never Sleep. You'll see on your Wikipedia page in front of you, Frank, there is no hyperlink.
No.
No one has published a Wikipedia entry. Now, of course, the question is, will we be the people who publish that Wikipedia entry?
I'm going to include the story of him traveling to Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah, and so we'll see if within half an hour someone changes it. Yeah. We'll know it's false. So Big Dreamers Never Sleep, 1987. This album comes out, and it's, as usual, produced by Gino Vannelli and his two brothers, Joe and Ross, and it includes kind of his last major hit, which is Wild Horses, the song we're doing today.
Yeah.
And then this sets in motion his future.
Yeah.
I think, because by then now he can become a touring thing. He's got all these songs, and Wild Horses is one of those regular songs he sings.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as I said earlier, I really pushed this episode, so I apologize, Frank. I'm like, we're doing Gino Vannelli, we're doing Wild Horses, it's happening. And Frank didn't realize I bought the CD online because you can't get an MP3, you can't buy a legit copy of this online. Mm-hmm. So I went and bought the actual album. So I got the CD, and it's that old CD thing where you open the booklet and like, oh, here's a list of songs and a list of performers. No lyrics. It's thin. And the back page is all about how great a compact disc is.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, yeah. So I think I have an original copy. I think it might be a German pressing even.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's very 1980s in its production. There's a couple tracks that really stand out for me, but Wild Horses far and away is a big one.
Yeah.
Now, it's written by Gino Vannelli and Roy Freeland, which I don't have a lot of information on Roy Freeland. I would have liked to have dove more into this, but he's done a lot of work with other songwriters. So it's hard to know. This frustrates me when a songwriter doesn't talk about his co-writer. So when Gino Vannelli talked about writing the song, he didn't talk about Roy Freeland's involvement.
I mean, it is a Gino Vannelli song.
Right.
So, it's tough to take that away from Gino, but at the same time, throw the man a bone.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I think both you and I, when we talk to others about the podcast, we don't even mention each other.
Oh, no, I call it my podcast.
Yeah.
Who's this Bill guy? It's just a character idea.
Yeah, he's the other guy. But anyways, while I was making this. So, okay, this brings us to the song. There's so much to talk about with Gino Vannelli, and he's so interesting in this way that I want to talk more about Gino Vannelli, and hopefully we do an episode on I Just Want to Stop.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
There is a Wikipedia page for that song, thank goodness.
Yeah. And I have this working theory or interest in Italo-Canadian rock stars.
Oh, yes.
Someday I'm going to write a paper on this, publish it in our scholarly journal that we publish semi-annually.
You mean our show notes?
Yeah, our show notes. But I'm not there yet. But I just want to note, also Italo-Canadian when this comes up in our future episodes this year. All right, did you find anything on the song, Gino Vannelli talking about it?
Yes, like the inspiration for it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's a classic mysticism rock star move. So Gino Vannelli is in Peru and he's hiking to Machu Picchu. And he doesn't say it specifically, but it's 100% assumed that he's in Machu Picchu. He's takes part of one of those ayahuasca ceremonies, which is it's like a tobacco. It's like a cannabis sort of. Well, it's not cannabis. Sorry, it's a.
It's not peyote, is it?
No.
Okay. So did you find an article? Like I was looking high and low I found one interview.
Well, I read an interview.
Okay.
I read an article and I
great.
listened to the one interview and
okay, go ahead. Keep going on the ayahuasca thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't say specifically that it was doing ayahuasca, but you look up Machu Picchu and he said he was involved in a sort of spiritual awakening. And then when you research Machu Picchu, yeah, they do these ayahuasca ceremonies, which sort of healers and shaman or whatever in Machu Picchu, it's part of the ceremony. It's supposed to open up your mind.
I gotcha. Okay, so I couldn't find an article on that stuff. That's good research. Good job.
He doesn't get an answer through this whole ceremony and through his whole experience.
But something has happened to him.
Yes.
Right? He's had some sort of spiritual awakening. So he goes home and then he starts talking about it, just like, I need an answer for what happened in Peru. So he hears about the shaman. In New Mexico. Jamie the shaman.
Yeah, Jamie.
So Jamie the shaman is in New Mexico and he flies to, he flies to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And then has to drive to
find the shaman.
Is it Santa Fe? Is that in New Mexico? Something like that.
Yeah.
So he's driving in a convertible.
Yeah.
So this is just, to me, it's like, first he's a rock star who went to Peru while there was like all this civil unrest. People getting murdered and stuff. He's like, but I had to be there. I'm like, oh, this is so rock star. Has this experience on a mountaintop. And then buys a flight to New Mexico from LA. I think that's where he was at that point. gets a convertible, because of course you get a convertible, and then drives at like 100 miles an hour down these roads, which is super dangerous.
The whole time he's kind of tapping out the beat of the song on the steering wheel, and he's saying like, I gotta get to that. I gotta get to the shaman. I gotta get to Shaman Jamie. Yes. I have to get there. It's like, nothing's gonna keep me away from Shaman Jamie. And so he's booting along, and I don't even, again, I was probably scrolling Tinder, but did he even, he was talking about getting lost. Did he even find Jamie?
Did. Okay. He got to Jamie, but he never got the answers to what he needed. But he got this song that he had in his head. By the time he got there, he had the chorus kind of mapped out. And so he had Wild Horses in his head, and he had the drum beat going. Yeah. And so I imagine Roy Freeland probably helped in fleshing out these songs, that he'd have them, and he'd be like, not a ghostwriter, but the sort of person who comes in and helps kind of clean things up. That's my guess. Yeah. Roy, you can reach out to us, though.
Yeah. Tell us your ayahuasca story. But so the whole time when he's tapping it out on the steering wheel and he's saying, I need to get there. I need it. Wild horses aren't going to keep me away from getting an answer to my questions, to getting an answer for my vision.
Right. So this song, in interesting ways, because you can see this as a love song, but this could also be a song about his seeking the divine. Yeah. And so Wild Horses couldn't drive him away from this experience. Yeah. But of course, we're going to dive into these lyrics.
Yeah. So the lyrics kind of indicate it's more of a romantic thing, but I think it's also, it also parallels nicely with his like dogged determination and his experience with Herb Alpert and getting a record contract back in the 70s.
Yeah. That's good analysis.
That is good analysis.
All right, now it is time to dive into Wild Horses, the song.
Yes.
As the sun goes down on the Arizona plain and the wind whistles by like a runaway train, hey, 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 it's a beautiful thing. Well, it's me and you and a flatbed truck, my heart kicking over like a white-tailed buck, hey, 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 in the middle of spring.
As the sun goes down on the Arizona plain and the wind whistles by like a runaway train, hey, it's a beautiful thing. Oh, it's me and you in a flatbed truck and my heart kicking up like a white-tailed buck in the middle of spring.
So, white-tailed buck, deer. Middle of spring is they want to get some dates. They got like the Tinder thing going on for deer.
The bucks are on their Tinder.
Right.
What's deer Tinder? What do you think that...
You just always swipe right.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of white-tailed buck actually in the woods. And we followed it.
By your place.
Yeah, but then following it, I realized they're probably coyotes, which is a really bad idea to be trying to follow a group of coyotes. Yeah. It was a total setup.
Wait, so you saw coyotes that were dressed as deer?
I gotta go see the optometrist.
This is sounding like a Looney Tunes episode.
It totally is.
What I like about that opening lyric, and we were talking about this when we were listening to the song beforehand, is... There's the wind whistles by like a runaway train. The drums, it's that clickety clack. Oh yeah, it's that train sort of. You get that real feeling, that imagery of a train. So, again, this is something that resembles the lyrics resemble what the sound is.
Exactly, and they make sure to have like such perfect production for this. Yeah, they have some of the best session players around, I think, anyways, because the drummer. And the drums are the key. It's those brushes on the drums, and that's Dave Garibaldi, who's the drummer for Tower of Power.
Yes, yeah.
And it's incredible. And so as you listen to it, those drums drive it. But there's also this bassist named Jimmy Haslip, who's on the bass. And if you go through his like website, you can see he's just a session player. Yeah. And he just came in for this one song, and holy cow. That bass moves, and then you have Joe Vannelli on the xylophone.
Yeah.
Those things all together make this song what it is. And then Gino's voice is this sort of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, he does something with it. It's different from I Just Want to Stop. What are you thinking?
I get huge Elvis feels.
Perfect. Exactly. So there's some Roy Orbison, Elvis,
Yeah.
and other performers who I was thinking of that have that. But the Elvis thing is really what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
It's that, hey, hey, hey. Like, it's that.
Yeah. And so it's that lustiness, right? Like Elvis, even though now, at least for us growing up, I never thought of him as this sort of sex symbol thing.
Yeah.
But he was that thing in the 50s.
Yes.
And then Gino has that feel he's bringing to the table. And then you got, the next section there. You can cut me deep. You can cut me down. You can cut me loose. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. And then he goes to, you can kick and scream, you can slap my face, you can set my wheels on a high-speed chase. Oh, you, no matter what you do. And we go into that chorus. Yeah. Is it?
No means no.
Yeah.
You can cut me deep, you can cut me down, you can cut me loose. Don't you know it's okay? Hey. You can kick and scream, you can slap my face, set my wheels on a high-speed chase on you. No matter what you do.
It's kind of creepy.
A bit.
But this is the nature of these songs of that era, or especially before. So it feels like it's harkening back to a 50s, 60s feel.
Yes.
And that's where you have this notion of this chase. There is something to it when you read these things. Like, I don't know if I'd sing that now. But that's not our style when we're trying to woo women.
That is Gino's style. Gino doesn't give up. Again, the whole Herb Alpert thing. And... speeding to see Shaman Jamie.
Yeah. Wild horses could not drag me away from you. It is such a great line.
Yes.
And it works so well with all the sounds around it. And when I was a kid, I remember this is the first time I heard a song about wild horses.
Yeah.
And then, of course, years later, I'm like, oh, there's a Rolling Stones song? Oh, I guess Gino was just singing a Rolling Stones song.
Yeah.
And now the Rolling Stones song goes like this. Wild horses couldn't drag me away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a common saying, though.
Yeah,
too,
I guess
right?
it is. Yeah. And then, there's so there is a whole thing about wild horses in song. So Gino's got the moxie to say, I'm going to use this that Rolling Stones have used. I'm going to use it in my song.
Yeah.
Only to be taught by Bono, who's going to use it a few years later.
Yes.
Wild horses could not drag me away from you. Wild horses could not drag me away from you.
The feel of the song is a very Southwestern feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the clickety clack of the drums almost has a bit of a country edge to it, country rock edge to it.
Yeah. And there's this, I have written down here, evocative, erotic imagery.
Yeah.
Right? That there's this sort of notion of like, it's me and you in a flatbed truck in a foot of mud, just my luck. Is that bad luck or good luck? Because he's stuck in mud in a flatbed truck. That kind of insinuates that that's not a bad thing for him. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, if he's with her, it's a good thing because,
It's a flatbed truck.
yeah, exactly. And the horses are going to get stuck in the mud too, so they can't even drag him away from her.
Right. They
At
could
that
probably
point.
help to get that truck out of the
Yeah,
mud.
maybe. Yeah, just get a team of horses, like a chuck wagon kind of a thing.
So we have the second verse has a nice balance to it where he says, well, as the sky falls down, right? And then that's where it begins. I guess the other one is the sun is going down. Now the sky falls down from the midnight blue, spitting like bullets on a hot tin roof. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful sound. And I know that sound. The sound of rain coming down on a hot summer night.
Yeah.
On a tin roof.
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
Like bullets.
Yeah.
Like he says.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, well, it's me and you in a flatbed truck and a foot of mud, just my luck, 100 miles out of town. And so again, I guess that's good luck. Although, if the rain's coming down, I don't know if you want to be in a flatbed truck.
Well, they might be inside the cab of the truck.
Okay.
Just because it's a truck doesn't in a flatbed truck doesn't mean you have to be outside
Right.
on it.
If I was going to go literal, he has a tin roof on that truck. And if it's too hot, don't touch the tin roof.
Yeah.
And as the sky falls down from the midnight blue, spitting like bullets on a hot tin roof ahead. It's a beautiful sound. Well, it's me and you in a flatbed truck in a foot of red mud, just my luck, yeah. 100 miles out of town.
Again, these are images, and we learned from Richard Fry. Literalism isn't needed here. Just get the picture.
Yeah.
And then get the feel.
Yeah, exactly. It paints a picture.
And then from there, it goes to the same line. Well, it's different here. He says,
No, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me a fool. You can call me blind. You can call it quits. I can't hear a word that you said, what you said. Because if I had you once, I'm going to have you twice. Okay. I'm going to follow my heart instead of good advice.
No, I have is that good advice.
Oh. I think it makes more sense to say instead of good advice. Follow my heart instead of good advice.
So my reading of it was, I'll follow my heart. Is that good advice? It's a question. And I'm going to tell Gino here, for someone who's been a fool in love and has been blinded by love, sometimes following your heart is not good advice. You do that too often, you end up like me, researching while you're on Tinder.
Stuck in a foot of mud.
Yeah.
You can call me a fool, you can call me blind, you can call it quits. Can't hear a word that you say. Cause if I had you once, I'm gonna have you twice. I follow my heart instead of good advice, say you. No matter what you do.
And then, of course, we go on to the wild horses. And there's repeats and stuff, but the feels just come through.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Just the sounds of the song.
The sounds and the imagery that it paints, you can feel this song.
Yeah.
It's very textual.
Yeah, definitely. I was wondering if this
is that a word?
Textual is.
Okay.
But what was the other word you said earlier? What was it?
Represemble.
Yeah, definitely not a word.
Well,
yeah.
Shakespeare invented words. Why can't I?
Well, you're not Shakespeare.
It could be.
All right. I was wondering if this should just become a category.
What's that?
Take it to the bridge.
Yes.
So the bridge in this song must be that part where he sings a bit and then it moves to the brushes.
The instrumental. Is that syncopation?
It's got to be. It's something like that.
It's got to be syncopation.
And it just is perfect because it just brings you to the end and all the good stuff going on there.
There's a definite divide between the song and then the ending, and that just sort of takes you on a little journey.
It does.
The bass goes for a walk, and it takes you along with it.
And the brushes, clean the floor.
Yeah. I was going to say the brushes set the pace.
They do. That sounds a lot better than me going the broom imagery. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's a beautiful thing.
Do you remember the first time you heard this song?
It's got to be early 90s, the first time that I really paid attention to it. Because I know that I've heard it. I must have heard it back in the 80s, but it was probably the early 90s when I'm just starting to get into music and understand music. Starting to gain a small appreciation for the stuff my parents listened to in terms of like the Rolling Stones. So I probably heard it and thinking it's like, that's not Wild Horses, that's by the Rolling Stones. And then hearing it again and listening to it. And the more I preferred this version over this song to the Rolling Stones Wild Horses, and I love the Rolling Stones Wild Horses.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love this version. This is the version.
Yeah.
And I would have heard it probably in the late 80s on video hits on CBC.
Yeah.
Because this didn't do well in America.
No.
But with CanCon regulations in Canada,
You had no choice but to do good.
And this is an example where CanCon is great because the song is great.
Yes.
So for whatever reason, it didn't make it over there. But we heard it over here. I feel like I've heard it on the radio. They would play it on the radio. I just never knew it was Gino Vannelli.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know who he was anyways then, but it was a song I remember hearing because I played it for Ashley. This is a big test, of course.
Yeah.
Ashley's sitting next to me, and I said, okay, we're going to do this song next. And I play it, and all I could think of is like, yeah, she has no idea about the song. And she hears it, and she goes, oh, yeah, I know this song.
She says that about a lot of songs, Bill.
But no, she was like, she started humming the xylophone part.
Oh, okay.
She goes, whatever it, I want to hum it.
Bing, bing.
Yeah, and so she had it. I'm like, okay, she knows this song. And so it is a song where people know it, even though when I say Wild Horses Gino Vannelli, I feel like people might not be aware till they hear it and they're like, oh, I know this.
Yeah. And even to mention Gino Vannelli, you're like, I know the name, but I have no idea what he sings. But then you say like Wild Horses and you start singing a bit of the song, or I Just Want to Stop. People know that song, so they know who Gino Vannelli is. They just don't know who he is.
Yeah. Okay. The music video
Oh, yeah.
is iconic.
I want to say that there's a new move that I'm going to add to my dance floor repertoire. And we talked about, like, there is a subtle eroticism about the song. And in the video, it's just Gino Vannelli. Like, there's the one move that he does where he takes his fists, and he's not pelvic thrusting, but he's just like slamming his fists on his upper thighs, and it just like, and like to the beat.
Yeah.
And just like, that's a new dance floor move for me. Like that's a little bit of a transition move, but it's going to come out next time I'm on the dance floor.
It's great. And so those who haven't seen the video, of course, you'll see in the show notes, they'll be there. That's the only place you can hear the song if you're looking online.
Unless you buy the CD.
Unless you buy the CD like I did. I would like to buy the vinyl. Maybe I'll look for the vinyl next. So let me set the picture for you. It's black and white. He's wearing a white billowy shirt. Not quite the pirate shirt that we would have seen in Seinfeld, but not too far removed from it.
No.
Very 80s.
Yeah.
He's got those jeans that are, they may be acid washed or stone washed. I'm not sure. Is that a stone washed like acid washed or not at all? Wait. I think they're acid washed.
You're asking me fashion questions, and I really have no answer to that.
Okay. So they're acid washed jeans, I think, or they're the blue acid wash style, at least to that era.
Yeah.
And he's got some lighter Western boots on. Perhaps brown, perhaps white. Hard to tell. So when you see him snap his fingers and then pump his fists against his thighs, he's moving with the beat. He's got the two-hand snap. Back and forth, two-hand snaps, sometimes hitting his thighs. Yeah. And he's got great hair.
Because I have it kind of playing here while we're talking about it. Everyone is sweaty.
It's hot. It's at least it looks hot. I mean,
the Arizona plate.
It's hard to know. Like, I keep thinking it's a carnival, but the scenes are like they're in the backyard of a hot Arizona town.
I think like Raising Arizona. Like there's a because the laundry's out on the line.
That's right.
And
that's the background is these bed sheets that are hung up. There's a woman just sitting in her like bikini that looks like she's from the 50s maybe. Yeah. Chewing gum and not
sunglasses.
Interested. But there's also this fan beside her, like those fans you see at the top of buildings that spins around. Yeah. What type of fan is that?
Well, that would be a condenser fan for an air conditioning unit.
Yeah, so the condenser fan is right at her feet, so it's like, are they on top of a roof? But then you have a band behind him, and it seems like at least one or two bass players at once. Yeah. There's someone playing xylophone, someone playing drums, but there's 3 iterations of this band. It keeps changing to these people who look like players because they don't look like anybody you would hire to act.
No, exactly. I'm looking at, there's the one like bigger drummer. Yeah. Like he's balding, wearing glasses and everything. Like, and I'm not here to shame, but he's not a Hollywood like attractive man that you would like feature in a video.
There's only one person who is both out of place and totally in place. And that is the it girl. Yes. So she's playing harmonica or appearing to play harmonica. I'm not sure we can even see a harmonica. and she's just moving with the rhythm.
Yeah,
and
dancing and clapping.
She is striking.
Yes.
And she is sweating.
Yes.
Like, she's probably sweating the most, which of course is very 80s.
Yeah.
And so Gino Vannelli's kind of sweating, but she is sweating. And she's kind of like moving, and he's not, like, this is the interesting thing for me in the video, is they're not set up as love interests. She's dancing around him to the music, and he'll look over at her kind of, but he's not interested in her in that sort of way.
The main character of this video is the song.
Yeah. And so they're moving to it, and she's just kind of this character that, as a viewer, you're drawn to. She is totally fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, so here is some deep research. 2 a.m, I wake up, can't sleep. Mm-hmm. Maybe thinking about the video. I don't know. And like, I got to figure out who this person is. So I find this article online, and let me just read the title, because the title says it all. MTV It Girls. Who's the girl in the video? This is the article.
Oh, okay.
And they go through iconic ones. And then in the comment section, someone says, who's the girl in Wild Horses?
So you went, you read the article, but then you went all the way through
the comments.
To find this information.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of typed into the search engine, and then it said it had something written there, but I had to look through, and there's nothing on it. But several people wrote in the comments, who's the girl in Wild Horses? So clearly there are people wanting to know. Yeah. So I get this name, Rosetta Millington.
Okay.
And I'm looking it up, like, who is she? Then I click on it. It's like, it's not Rosetta Millington. Someone's named Rosetta Getty. Like, who's Rosetta Getty? So I'm looking at this. I see a picture of this person, like, well, that's her. But there is nothing linking her to the video. Okay. She is not unfamous. She is married to Balthazar Getty, who is the great-grandson of J. Paul Getty. I believe it's J. Paul Getty, who is the richest man in the world.
Really?
Do you remember that movie, All the Money in the World?
Yeah.
Where it's about the kid who got kidnapped?
Yeah.
That's Getty.
Did they invent Getty Images? Like when you...
Yeah. The Getty... No, it's all connected.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all connected.
It's trying to be hilarious.
Yes, I think so anyways. At least from what I know, because there's this Getty Museum and stuff.
Yeah.
And so Balthazar Getty's father is the guy who got kidnapped. In that, and had his ear cut off by mafia and all that, and then had a pretty tortured life and died young.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So Balthazar Getty was a son who never really had, a good father figure anyways. This is kind of going off on the side here. Yeah. It's all going to come together. He marries Rosetta Millington, who becomes Rosetta Getty, who has her own clothing line.
Oh, okay.
And she's like a fairly big deal from everything I see, and they're worth a ton of money. Like 300 million.
How did she end up in this video?
This is before they're married.
Okay.
So there's no mention. She's online and everything. No mention of this video. But when you see her, that is Rosetta Getty.
Oh, okay.
And she has her own line of gowns and stuff. And you can watch these videos where they talk about their life together. And the reason I'm bringing this up is she maybe inadvertently follows the theme of this song. Because Balthazar Getty was not an easy person to live with because he had this very public affair with Sienna Miller in 2008.
Oh, that's right.
So everyone knew this. He had kids, like they had 3 or 4 kids, I think. And he was off for a long time with Sienna Miller. And they got back together, and they're still together.
Oh, wow.
Because Wild Horses could not drive Rosetta Getty away from her husband, despite
his infidelity.
Yeah, very public.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
It's crazy. So that was my deep dive research, and it's totally her. And there is no connection. So I don't know if she's used her money to push down Wild Horses. I don't know why, because it's fascinating. And as far as It Girls in a video, she's not exploited, I don't think. I mean, we're guys talking about a beautiful woman in a video, but she's just this fascinating figure.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's not, it's not an overt objectification of her in the video. It's not her front and center writhing in a bikini on a car or something like that.
She's not wearing the bikini. The person wearing the bikini is just sitting there.
Yeah, and she's completely uninterested.
Yeah.
It's almost like a David Lynch film.
I had that written down. Yeah, that's great. It is like a David Lynch film. If anything, this is what Wild at Heart should have used Maybe, I mean, of course, what am I saying?
Yeah, well, why the heart?
Chris Isaac.
Yeah.
But this has a total Lynchian feel.
Yeah.
And Balthazar Getty said David Lynch, this is not connected, but is, he sees David Lynch as kind of a surrogate father to him.
Oh, okay.
All these weird connections.
Yeah.
Either way, this video feels like Lynch.
Yeah. It's all 6 degrees of Gino Vannelli.
Yeah. Thank you, Gino, for Twin Peaks. So that video is so watchable. I've watched it over and over again.
Yeah.
But I also can't help but see Eugene Levy playing Gino Vannelli from the SCTV.
In an SCTV parody of
Yeah,
this,
they did a parody of I Just Want to Stop where he keeps singing and growing more and more chest hair. So that would be like when we talk about categories, if we're even heading there, we might as well. Yeah. Hallmark movie is like, well, it's a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
This belongs in a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
So I can't see it as a Hallmark thing, but I can see it as a David Lynch movie.
Can we talk about Gino Vannelli in more recent pop culture history?
For sure.
So in 2008, Boston Celtics would play a clip of Dick Clark's American Bandstand. And it's just like music playing and a bunch of people dancing. And it was like, panning through the crowd and everything. And the end of this clip that they would play at Celtics games, and it was always during a blowout win for the Celtics. Mm-hmm. The end of it was this bearded man wearing a very, very tight T-shirt with Gino Vannelli on it. It just said Gino, and they call it Gino time. So in 2008, Gino Vannelli is thrust into the forefront of the Boston sort of sports pop culture history because everyone knows the guy who's dancing in this video and everyone knows the shirt that he's wearing. So it's Gino time. So Gino Vannelli has this small little resurgence in 2008. And that's also the year that they won their last championship was 2008. Wow. So Gino Vannelli has a part of the Celtics' 17th championship in the NBA.
All right. Let's talk some categories?
Yes.
Okay. Michael Bolton. Could Michael Bolton sing this?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. I was actually thinking he could if he toned it down.
But you're asking a bird not to fly.
I was going to say at the end, but he could have not. By the end, he'd just go wild. He is the wild horse.
He is the wild horse, yeah.
Now, I do have another category. Unfair because I didn't tell you about this, but who else could sing this? And I have one person who I feel could sing this.
Okay.
And that's Chris Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it has that sort of, like I said, that Southwestern, almost rockabilly feel to it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, who else would be able to do that? Maybe John Bon Jovi in his cowboy rock stage or Kid Rock?
Or I could see it being like a female voice who makes it feel kind of ethereal.
Oh, okay.
So,
like Enya?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, she could. Maybe Enya. Maybe like a Phoebe Bridges or a Tori Amos. Could she do it? I'm just trying to think. Someone could do something with it. Could Jewel sing this?
Yeah, I could hear Jewel singing this.
All right, Jewel. The challenge is on.
Jewel, this is your challenge, and we know you listen to the episodes, so we challenge you to sing Gino Vannelli's Wild Horses and send it over to us. And then maybe hang out with me.
Wild horses could not drag me away from
Another category here.
Yeah.
What season of the year and what time of the day does this song work best in?
End of summer in the evening.
You got it. That's the answer.
Yeah.
All right, one more for you.
Okay.
What part of the date do you play this song on?
Okay, it's not a first date song.
No.
You know what? It's a third date song after you have a mild misunderstanding. If you're really into her.
Oh, okay.
But without, going creepy.
Oh, okay, because I have Getting Fresh written down.
Okay. Well,
not mild misunderstanding. Yeah. To me, it seems like that would be your kind of go-to kissing song.
It's a kissing song. In a flatbed truck.
Yeah. All right. I mean, there's one more major category we got to get to, of course. Mixtape.
Mixtape. Okay.
You got a mixtape going?
I have a mixtape.
Okay, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so my mixtape, the theme I went with was songs that have animal names. Animals
names?
Animals in the title.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay.
So, Like a Bird on a Wire, the Neville Brothers. Barracuda by Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Rock Lobster, the B-52s. A bit of an outlier here, and this is just because I love the band, but also the song is beautiful. Transient Whales by Toad the Wet Sprocket. Pony by Genuine. And I am ending this just for you, Bill. Hands by Jewel.
Hands is not an animal. It's not funny anymore. This is like I don't know how many episodes you've done this to me, whether I've kept it in or cut it out. Okay.
No. I do have an ending for you.
Oh, yeah.
And this one honestly is just for you.
Yeah.
Butterfly by Crazy Town.
Yes. Oh, what an ending. Oh, that's a great transition into my stuff. So my mixtape went with Texture, to quote you, actually, from an earlier episode.
Mm-hmm.
So after, Wild Horses plays, or I guess your part, I'm on Fire, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, got the
Bruce
feel.
Springsteen could sing a song.
Yeah. Oh, he could totally sing this. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight, Cutting Crew.
Okay.
Drive, The Cars.
Oh.
Wicked Game, Chris Isaac.
Oh.
And then I'm going to end with...
I will listen to this mixtape.
Yeah. Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses? U2. Because it has that feel. And not the one that's on Octung Baby, but the mix that was actually the single.
Oh, okay.
It has that sort of feel as well. And it's like a scaled back Bono. Mm-hmm. And I really like that song. And the Wild Horses fits within the Gino Wild Horse world.
Yeah.
So it feels like the Gino Vannelli is like Wild Horses Won't Drive Me Away. And Bono's like, who's going to ride your wild horses? There's something going on there.
It's all in the Gino-verse.
In the Gino-verse.
Yeah. That's a great mixtape.
Yeah, I felt really good. I spent a lot of time on this. I do have something else. Gino's so weird. When he's interviewed, he doesn't even bother talking about wild horses. He only wants to really talk about his spiritual journey. I just don't want to hear about it. I want to hear about wild horses, Gino. I don't want to hear about the ego and your Carl Jung. I just want to hear.
I just want you to stop and tell me all the things about you, baby.
Exactly. So I am so glad we got to talk about a song that's not easy to find on Spotify, that's not easy to find anywhere.
Yeah.
That you'd have to go on Amazon and look for Dreamers Never Sleep if you wanted to get a CD copy of this.
Yeah. Or write Bill. He might be able to send you his. Bill's like a CD library. He lends them out and they do come back sometimes.
They do. You know what? CDs are still an awesome way of listening to music.
Yeah. And the song, I think, is critically underappreciated. Like we said, it did very well in Canada, but in the broader North America, really didn't chart. But such a good song. Such a really, really good song. And a visceral song. You can feel it. You can feel everything that he's singing. It is so good.
Yeah. I can't help but gush over this.
Yes.
And so, we don't do irony anyways.
No.
We like to joke around.
Yes.
We don't do irony.
No.
And this song is incredible. So if you're out there and you know this song but haven't been able to sort of place it anywhere, we're here for you. And we want you to know that no matter what's going on in the world, wild horses won't drag us away from bringing guilt-free pleasures to you.
Thank you for listening.